What's up? It is 7 nights, and I figured, I haven't shown my face on this channel at all, and I haven't done any vlog type things. I mean, I've done podcasts and whatnot, but I figured I wanted to do a video on this Lazarus, but I didn't really want to do a scripted video till it's all finished, but I wanted to get my thoughts out before the show actually finishes, the speculative talk is pretty interesting. We do the seasonal anime podcast things. So I like talking about, early on in the show. As of recording, episode 5 just came out, and 5, I just watched it like a couple hours ago, and I have some thoughts on the show. First of all, of course, it's on everybody's radar because of it's a Shinichiro Watanabe show, guy who directed Cowboy Bebop, directed a bunch of things, Samurai Champloo, Carol and Tuesday, etc., etc. It's definitely in the vein closer to Bebop than some of his later stuff is, like Carol and Tuesday, all the shows are connected. There's a lot of interconnectivity. Supposedly, a lot of them take place in the same universe, kind of deal. But beyond that, he has a lot of trademark things in his settings and scripts. I don't know if he writes the scripts for all of them, but he at least has some influence for sure. But I think you can see a lot of one of the things that he does in a lot of his shows is diversity. He shows people from all spectrums of where they live, all types of people, things like that, and he tackles a bunch of interesting issues that encounter from that. He in Cowboy Bebop, we see them going through the slums all the time, and different slums, and we see uniquely what they look like, kind of thing. Same with Carol and Tuesday. It's a lot about different people from different backgrounds. I didn't actually watch it. I've only seen bits and pieces of it, right? But he has a diverse. He's very important to him is that he makes shows with a diverse cast, and not even necessarily within the main cast themselves. Usually the main cast are kind of pretty typical people, but that they see a bunch of different people, because as he has said before in interviews, he thinks diversity makes a series seem more alive, makes the world seem more alive, and that's 100% correct. I mean, if you're trying to make a broad show where they go to a bunch of different places, they should all look different or look by what you would think from those places, right? It just makes more sense. And also, through the diversity of human experience, you can tackle more interesting topics and whatnot. Lazarus is definitely in that vein. There's a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life in Lazarus so far. Very interesting. I like it. But, with Lazarus, you can also definitely tell he's trying to... I wouldn't say he's trying to capitalize on Cowboy Bebop. I don't know if... Cowboy Bebop was the thing most people know him for, but it wasn't necessarily the most crazy standout hit of all time in Japan. In the US, of course, and in the West, we fucking adore it, right? It's our favorite thing ever. Which I agree. It's amazing. But I wouldn't say he's necessarily trying to capitalize off it so much as make something closer to in the vein of that. And you can definitely tell that through, a lot of the ways of it being set up. It's way more action focused than something like Carol and Tuesday would be, in the vein of Cowboy Bebop. But I would say it's probably even more action focused than Cowboy Bebop, honestly. And I read an interview or two about the show, and I believe they got either the director or the guy who choreographs the fights from the John Wick movies working on this. I don't think he's technically a director or anything. I think it's still Watanabe, right? But they have him on the fights to help them. Everybody likes the John Wick fights, right? It's basically the reason that series does well. It's all about the fights, and there's a lot of really interesting shots in those, and they wanted to mirror that in Lazarus. They want these interestingly choreographed fights. Same thing with the animation talent. The animation, I will say, for Lazarus, overall, very good. It is a modern production. You can kind of tell in some ways that aren't necessarily good. Some of the cars are going to be CG cars, and you just have to get used to that. It kind of sucks, but, nobody wants to draw a whole ass fucking car anymore. It just is so much. Same with, very rarely we get, people way in the background still who are CGI people. Whatever, not super annoying. I mean, you can tell a little bit. You're okay, it's not a $100 trillion production, right? But it's very good production. Besides that, all the characters are on model constantly. They're making good expressions. They're animated fluidly, and then the action scenes themselves, which I like to notate when I talk about how well animated something is, the frequency of the actually good animated moments, because people get very easily tricked up on this kind of stuff. It kind of is a marketing gimmick sometimes. Like Demon Slayer, everybody says, man, Demon Slayer, best animated show ever. It looks so freaking good. I mean, not everybody, but people who are relatively new to criticism or animation or whatever kind of thing, they're like, dude, Demon Slayer looks crazy. Look at this 5-second clip from this fight. And I'm like, dude, I watched that whole fight. Those guys were standing each other facing them off, or standing there facing each other off for like the last 10 minutes of the episode before that. Like, this is the only time they actually moved. Like, the animation's not good. It's very sparse. Like, the good moments look good, but I think your good moments have to last a long time and be actually interestingly weaved into the story. If you have two characters talking, like, if it's going to be a big focus of your series, I want to actually see them, you know, moving, making expressions, stuff like that. Especially if it's, like, supposed to be a fight scene where, like, they're kind of exchanging blows and then they go back to talking. Demon Slayer, they just fucking sit there and spectate each other until one of them chops the other one in half. It's not very good looking. Overall, the good moments look pretty good. It is a lot of, like, kind of special effects spam, which to each their own. It can look pretty cool, but sometimes it kind of gets old. But Lazarus is, I would say, if I had to think of a ratio of, like, action stuff happening to characters sitting still moments kind of thing, it's way higher in this show because a lot of the focus of the show is action. They wanted an action show, and stylistically, it's very much in the vein of Cowboy Bebop. It's just, I'm really enjoying it so far, but I do have concerns about it, and I will say right off the bat, the writing, not as strong as Cowboy Bebop. The premise is pretty interesting. The premise basically being, this one scientist guy, Dr. Skinner, he made a miracle drug basically called Hapna. Hapna, he put on the market. He didn't care about the patent. He didn't care about making money. So it was like basically extremely cheap to produce, and everybody got it super cheap. So everybody was addicted to it immediately because it's just like a perfect painkiller drug. Like, to the point where it even can cure like sad emotions kind of thing. It's framed as if it's like it really cures sad emotions. But at the same time, the people who, we don't really directly see people on it, but it kind of seems like it's not like 100%, but it's very good, obviously. And it's like, for physical pain and stuff, it's like perfect, right? Everybody got addicted to it instantly. And then he comes back 3 years later and he says, humanity is doomed. All we do is put off things for short-term games and ruin us in the long term. Humanity sucks. By the way, nobody knows it until now, but everybody who took Hapna in about however many years, you will all die. You can't do anything about it. Can't detect it. It's like impossible to deal with in the bloodstream. Can't be removed. You're done. You're done, kid. Only way to save yourself, come find me. With pretty interesting setup. And it's got like some good, writing going on there. I enjoy, you see scenes of him in like episode 2 or so, of him at like climate change conferences being like, dude, we gotta do something. Like, he's like at the like equivalent of the UN in this universe or whatever. He's like, we gotta do something. Like, long term, we're all just gonna die if we just don't do anything. I know short term profits matter, and everybody just walks out. They don't give a fuck because governments. So it's interesting for him to then make that judgment call and say, okay, nobody wanted to listen. That shows that we just suck as a race fundamentally, and there's not much we can do about that. So I'm just gonna kill everybody, or whatever his actual plan is. Pretty interesting stuff. The premise is good, I would say. It's maybe a bit like much, maybe a bit on the nose, right? But I do think it's interesting. The writing surrounding it, not quite as strong, really. I mean, the characters, I like them, and how they interact with the plot is decent. It's a little ham-fisted. It's a lot of like, we thought Hapna was the cure, but really we were tricked. Like, it's a very on-the-nose kind of thing. It's not bad. I think it can go to an interesting place. I think the second half of this show is kind of going to be the big deal. Like, I could easily see it crash down and not be that interesting. But I think at a base level, it's serviceable enough, and we get enough good character moments that are interesting that is keeping me on board. The people who have interacted with Skinner throughout his life, basically talking about how he's good. We go and see his grandma or something, and she's like, look at this really cool, unique dish I make, or whatever. And everybody loves it, that kind of stuff. It's all very good. I think, there will be a couple types of people in terms of how they see this. I'm sure some people are already writing the video, it's no Cowboy Bebop. Or I'm sure some people are writing the video, the next Cowboy Bebop? But I would just say, I think it's a nice mix of in-between. It's more action-focused than Bebop, and the action, I guess I could take a moment to talk about it. The action looks really good. It's not the absolute best production I've ever seen in terms of the animation and the fluidity and whatnot, but it's very, very, very good. He talks about in this one interview that getting a production team for it was very hard. Also, this is by Mappa, I believe. But, Watanabe, he kind of runs his own stuff a lot. If it's a production by Watanabe, he's handpicking a lot of the staff, and it's less like, this is a show by Mappa, and more, this is a show Mappa funded him to produce with some of their staff and whoever he decided he needed, right? And he says specifically, he had a lot of trouble finding in Japan people who were really skilled animators who could work on the production, and so he got a lot of overseas animators to help work on it as well. And, it shows, especially with the John Wick director or choreographer, whichever it is. The fights, not only are they, just really well animated fights, where like you're used to seeing, they make a really good use of the space in the area, and the fights being determined by that. Episode 1 is a lot of him breaking out of a prison and being on the run from cops and whatnot. And in that, you see him use the verticality of the space. You see him use where everybody is and stuff like that. Like, going through vents, going through closed spaces, kicking off walls, stuff like that. Jumping on guardrails and stuff like that. It's really well done in terms of being conscious of where he is at and how that plays into the fight. I think later on, they do some of that even better. In episode 5, just now, there's a scene where he gets into an elevator with 5 security guards who are obviously trying to take him in, kind of thing. And he just fights these 4 or 5 people in this elevator, this tiny little elevator, as they're going up the whole time. And so you see how this fight is so different because of this tiny box they're all in. He's getting grabbed and pushed, and he's pushing people in front of him, so it's hard to get to him and stuff. It's just a really good fight based off of where he is enclosed in, and the directing is really cognizant of it. It's really good. There's some moments that it's a little bit hard to tell what's happening, but overall, it's really, really good. Same with pretty much all the fights. I can think of a bunch of fights where that is the case in this series already. I'm genuinely really impressed with it so far. So, yeah, on the actual action side of it, I think anybody who's I love Cowboy Bebop because it's a cool action thing, arguably not entirely the point of Cowboy Bebop, but it's definitely a lot of the point of Cowboy Bebop, right? It's definitely a good chunk of the theming and how you get to where you arrive to in the theming because of the fights and whatnot. So I think people who are on it for that level 100% should watch. It's really good at that. For the people who are there because they like Cowboy Bebop because it's a somber, melancholic, contemplative kind of thing. Sometimes it's contemplative. It's a little jokey. It's a little action heavy to be contemplative. Lazarus is more in line with his newer stuff in terms of how jokey and non-contemplative. I wouldn't say non-contemplative, but I would say less contemplative, right? There's more quips. There's more lighthearted moments. The tone in general is, we're going to catch this guy. That kind of thing, right? And there's somber moments here or there, but mostly the characters are less serious, right? There's stuff going on for sure, but it's pretty interesting in that regard. But it's a lot closer to, that quippier, more upbeat kind of style. I could definitely see that turning some people off. I would prefer if it was Cowboy Bebop, of course, but I'm not going to knock it for being its own thing, right? If you don't like the quips, it might get annoying. I was kind of worried about it after watching episode 2, because episode 2 was really quippy. There was a lot of, him running around shooting at people, and she's like, this guy's freaking crazy. What the heck is he doing? And it's okay, yeah. Or when they make the Lazarus team, and he's like, we're basically superheroes. And it's oh, I love Marvel, dude. It's so awesome. But even then, I find it pretty tolerable. Some of the clips are also pretty funny. I like when they're driving through the countryside in episode 2, trying to get to whatever shelter or whatever. And she's like, oh, what were you in jail for? And he's like, or no, she doesn't ask him what he was in jail for. She asks him how long he was in jail for. And he says, 888 years. And she immediately stops the car, kicks him out, and is like, I'm not fucking driving with Leatherface down the damn street. You don't get that for killing 1 or 2 people. And he's like, no. I'm sentenced so long because every time I break out, they double my sentence. That's fucking funny. It's a good bit. The characters all have good chemistry together. There's not as many group interactions as you would maybe hope. So far, there's been a couple with Chris and the girl, God, I can't ever remember her name. Is she Chris? No, I think the college guy is Chris. The names are escaping me. I know Douglas is the really cool black dude. He's fucking awesome. I really like his design. And then we've got Axel Gilberto is our main character. That name is just fucking sick. It just goes hard. And then Elena is the hacker girl. And then I think the girl might be Chris. I get them mixed up because their name is like both of their names are kind of similar. And in terms of just like being a simple kind of small name, and so it just goes out of my head. I need the last name to latch on to. The last names are what I always latch on to, except for Douglas. Douglas, what's his face? But the characters, when they have like interactions with each other, are pretty fun. And episode 2 gets a lot of that because they break off into 2 teams and they get to go do their own thing. I like the characters. The hacker girl is like, it is very typical like plot convenience hacker girl. I am a really good hacker. Okay, I will do this for you. But you can tell she kind of has her own thing still sometimes. I would like to see more of her doing interesting things or like giving her thoughts on stuff. I know she's not really that kind of person, so it's kind of like, well, you can't just expect her to open up. That's not how she is. But I would like her to be put in a scenario where you can see at least the gears turning in her head doing that. But all this to say, I'm liking it quite a bit so far. What else have I not covered? The action looks really good. The writing, it's serviceable. I would say, you know, like I said, there's a good amount of intrigue in the premise, and then it's kind of front-loaded, and then basically from there, we're kind of dealing with the characters interacting with it. But, you know, to everybody, the main characters included, it kind of doesn't feel real yet, so they aren't having any strong reactions. Maybe when the first people actually start dying, there could be stronger reactions. I don't know. Or it could get more contemplative. I think that possibility is open for the show, but I don't think it'll go for that. Because, like I said, the tone is a lot more irreverent. Like, it's a lot more, we're superheroes kind of thing. It's funny. But it does go, you know, there's some, like, darker stuff. There's a guy in episode 4 who, him and his hacker buddy, all they do is fucking date rape, drug a bunch of women in this club hotel that they own. Like, okay, that's fucked up. It's cool to see them actually like tackling stuff like that. And in the usual Watanabe style, there's a lot of like, you know, diversity. Like I said, in episode 3, there's a really good bit where they're going to this homeless encampment and trying to find this guy Axel used to know, and they're looking all around for him. And he's like, yeah, he used to run this place, I'm pretty sure. Like, you guys should probably know him. And they're like, I don't know who Joe is, or Joel, or whatever. No idea who Joel is. The place is run by Jill now. I don't know. I don't even know who Joel is. And finally, after a bunch of searching, this Jill lady comes up, and she's like, oh my god, Axel, it's been so long. And and he's like, wait, what? And the idea is, oh, this person transitioned and is now going by Jill. And so everybody's like, yeah, that's just Jill. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And, like, I could definitely see some people being like, oh, great, it's a joke that she's trans. That's nice. But it's not like a, haha, ooh, that's weird kind of thing. It's like a, oh, God, I didn't even think about that. That's awesome, like, kind of thing. And then from there, it's just like, oh, yeah, she's just cool. Like, we just like her. Of course. Like, that's awesome. Especially in terms of, like, down the line, as they're discussing, Douglas, again, a black dude, he's discussing how he had issues at this university or something because one of the leads of, like, the vice president or something of the university or something like that was basically harassing him and denying some of his stuff because he was black. And she's like, yeah, I know what it's like to be a minority, right? Like, it's fucking, it sucks when people look at you weird because you're this way or that way, right? And they have a nice moment together. I think that's really fucking cool. And it's not super ham-fisted either. Like, it's just like a quick line. It's not like, here, guys, we're cool with trans people. Doesn't that make us a good show or whatever? It's like, no, it's just, this is just a person who lives here, and this is a person who we like, and she's cool. And, like, yeah, she's trans, but that's how it goes. So I think it does a good job of, like, not being too, like, you know, if anyone called this, like, forced or something like that, I would think they were just fucking stupid, right? It's just Watanabe. He's just good at doing that shit. Like, he takes that shit seriously. He likes to put diversity in his series, and it makes them feel more realistic because of it. It's very cool. But I think overall the episodes have been relatively episodic. We get like a little bit closer and we get a new lead, and then the next episode we kind of get something, and usually it doesn't pan out. On this one, they just got fucking owned. That was quite funny. But do I have any other lingering thoughts on this? I'm really enjoying it so far. I think it's a good, like, sit down and watch with a bunch of people kind of thing, probably, if I had to guess. Just in terms of, like, the action is really good. Genuinely, episode 1 is, like, it's like Mirror's Edge being an anime. Like, he is just parkouring, run away from the cops for, like, 20 full fucking minutes of this episode. Like, it's all really well done, and it's really cool. We see him make crazy jumps and shit like that, and we're like, okay, I mean, I guess that's possible. And then every once in a while he does something, you're like, oh my god, he fucking did that? And it's like, I mean, I guess. Like, one of the big set pieces in episode 1 is, like, he finally gets caught by Douglas. Douglas is like, hey, just don't fucking do anything. You can't jump anywhere. This building's, like, basically secluded from everything, and we led you here on purpose so that you couldn't go anywhere else. And he makes a joke about, like, oh, humans aren't normally equipped to fly, and he's like, yeah, but being normal isn't cool, or some stupid shit like that. And he fucking jumps off and, like, what is he doing, bro? And he latches onto the one kid's drone that is flying, and it holds him, and he runs down the fucking building and shit. It's just really cool, and I just really enjoyed it. I would give this, so far, probably a light 8, maybe a strong 7. I'm at 8 right now. I think if it stays this fun and the writing stays this solid, I wouldn't call it good, but I would call it solid. It's serviceable. The characters, at the intro of every episode, they have their own little moment where they're like, talk about their relationship with Hapna, kind of stuff like that. It's pretty interesting. You get a little bit more on the inside of their head. And, I don't know. I think it's just, like, pretty good so far in terms of that. I think it certainly could improve. I would love to see it get more contemplative. I would love to see it go further. I would love to see the characters explore more ideas. I just don't think the tone is right for that, though. I don't think they will, which is fine. For doing its own thing, I think it's very good. Again, it's no Cowboy Bebop, okay? But it is doing its own thing. It's a bit funnier, a bit goofier, a bit more quippy, but I'm enjoying it for what it is, and I think everybody else should. I mean, you know, it's really nice looking, and it's fun. The characters are cool. I like all of them. They have great designs. The setup is interesting, and seeing how Skinner interacted with all these people in the past and how much they like him and whatnot, it's all just very interesting. I would really recommend the show to anybody who isn't, like, super duper hung up on it being like a contemplative Bebop show necessarily. Even Bebop wasn't always that contemplative. People remember it for that in some ways, but there's equally a lot of really goofy episodes. I don't know. I just think it's good Watanabe content. Like, I'm really enjoying it, and I don't know if I really have more to say other than that. I've enjoyed every episode. The clips are a bit much at times, but I think lest I repeat myself, I will leave it off here and say I think it's pretty good so far. Give it a check out. A light 8-ish territory, which is really good. 8? If something's an 8, I'm like, fuck yes. If something's a 7, I'm probably like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. Even if something's a 6, a lot of the time I'm like, that was fine. And like, not a bad way to spend the afternoon or whatever. The 5 territories where I'm like, maybe I shouldn't watch that. But a light 8, I'm having a ball. You know, I'm watching it every Sunday when it comes out, right? Like, you know, more can be said about that than most shows where I just forget about them after 2 days or whatever. So I think it's promising. I think only time will tell at the end if it ends up being as thematically rich as Bebop. I don't think it probably will be, and that is fine. But I would sure like it. I would sure like that to happen. Maybe I will make a scripted video if it ends up being more interesting than what I said here when it all finishes. But those are my thoughts for now. Let me know if you are enjoying the show. Let me know what you think about it. Any gripes you might have. But for now, I think I am good here. And I will see you in the next one. I keep saying this. I'm really getting close on finishing this long-ass video. I've finally gotten the script completely recorded, almost done editing it. It's gonna be a little over 2 hours, and it's like fully scripted, fully edited. It's not a vlog like this where I can just rant at a camera for 25 minutes or whatever. But bear with me here. I would really like your support on that one. That one I think is gonna be fucking sick. Hopefully, But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.